14 this morning.
And it's 6 o'clock on Wednesday, April the 27th, and I'm Steve Johnson.
And I'm Kelly Smith. Thanks for joining us this morning. And, you know, the weather yesterday afternoon was pretty nice. We had a nice sunny day.
And guess what?
What?
Gonna do it again.
Yes, that is the best news. Let's go ahead and check in with meteorologist Ben Smith so he can tell us all about this wonderful weather.
Yeah, boy, it was fantastic after all that rain yesterday morning. And we're going to do it again, as Steve just said, a sunny afternoon, warming trend, and then maybe some rain over the weekend. But it's going to be really late in the weekend, and we're still going to salvage some nice days coming up, hours into my sleep time. So I'm going to get you later on. All right, we'll see you in a little bit.
All right, Ben, thank you. Well, the U.S. Defense Chief urged Ukraine's allies to move faster to get more and heavier weapons to Kyiv. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin made the remarks Tuesday as Russian forces rained fire on eastern and southern Ukraine amid new fears that the fighting could spill over into the country's actual borders. For the second day, explosions rocked the separatist region of Transnistria in neighboring Moldova. The blast knocked out two powerful radio antennas. And officials in Poland and Bulgaria say Russia is suspending deliveries of natural gas to their countries beginning today. Those cutoffs would be the first since Russian President Vladimir Putin announced last month that unfriendly foreign buyers would have to pay in rubles instead of dollars and euros. That demand came after sanctions were levied against Moscow over the invasion of Ukraine. Europe imports large amounts of Russian natural gas for residential heating, electricity generation, and the fuel industry. The imports so far have continued despite the war. Polish and Bulgarian authorities say they do not anticipate restrictions on domestic gas consumption due to the Russian cutoffs.
The head of the International Atomic Energy Agency says Russian troops risked causing an accident with their seizure of the Chernobyl nuclear plant in Ukraine. 36 years after the world's worst nuclear disaster, the agency says radiation levels at the damaged plant are normal. However, the situation is still not stable, and the agency says nuclear authorities have to keep on alert. Russian troops moved into the radiation-contaminated Chernobyl exclusion zone in February on their way toward the Ukrainian capital. They withdrew late last month.
Now, News 19 is your local election headquarters, and with less than a month until the primary, candidates are working to earn the votes of Alabamians.
On Tuesday, some in the Republican gubernatorial race gathered in Huntsville for a debate. News 19's Hannah Jones joins us in the studio. Hannah, one person, though, was absent from last night's debate.
That's right, Kelly. The governor herself was not at last night's debate, despite many of her challengers being there. A runoff is necessary. That'll happen June 21st. Kelly.
All right, thank you, Hannah. Tuesday night, two of the four candidates running for Secretary of State attended a forum hosted by the League of Women Voters. Those candidates, businessman Chris Horn and former elections administrator in the Secretary of State's office, Ed Packard. Absent from the event, State Auditor Jim Ziegler, who was out sick, and State Representative Wes Allen, who had a conflicting schedule. According to a January Wave consulting poll of 1,200 likely Republican voters, Ziegler is leading the pack at 31%, followed by Allen at 11%. Alabama's primary elections are just 4 weeks away. The candidate who wins this Secretary of State primary and the potential runoff in June will go on to the general election in November against Democratic candidate Pamela Lafitte.
Oh, just 4 weeks until the primary. Time for voters to ensure they're registered is running out.
But there are a number of ways to verify your registration details ahead of Election Day. News 19's Samson Tamajani joins us live at the Madison County Service Center with what you need to know ahead of those deadlines. Samson.
Yeah, Kelly, where I'm at is indeed the place to be if you're wanting to turn in an absentee ballot this year in Madison County. That's contrary to past elections where you just go to the Madison County Courthouse. And that's among several reminders being issued in the lead up to the primary election. Also, if you want to take part in the primary election, you have to be registered to vote no later than the end of business day, May 10th. That's 2 weeks from yesterday. Now, if you do it electronically, which means you need to have a valid Alabama driver license, you have up until 11:59 that night. It's also important to know where you're registered to vote. Your polling place can be verified through the Secretary of State's office or your County Board of Registrar's office, which is now also here at the Service Center for those in Madison County. As for absentee voting info, May 17th is the last day to return absentee ballot applications by mail, and May 19th is the deadline for returning those applications in person. The actual absentee ballots must be returned no later than noon on Election Day, May 24th. Important to note, Alabama Secretary of State John Merrill says COVID-19 is not included on the list of excuses for the absentee application. As for absentee ballot voting info, May 17th is the last day to return these by mail. May 19th is the last day to return it in person. And as usual, you can find more of these links and information regarding the primary election, sample ballots, as well as info about all the candidates running in your area over on our website at WHNT.com. Now, live this morning, Samson Tamajani, News 19.
All right, Samson, a historic building and a place many of you have been deemed a total loss after a fire. The very latest on that when we return for News 19 this morning.
Now, your Weather Authority forecast, sponsored by Greenway of the Shoals. No fees whatsoever on your next car. A new way, the right way. GreenwayoftheShoals.com.
We're going to start out at Governor's Drive, Huntsville Hospital. You can see the traffic coming down the mountain there. Temperatures are cool this morning. How about the view from Guntersville? Big improvement from yesterday. We had the cloud cover, rainfall across Marshall County. 45 degrees, definitely a cool start this morning. You'll need the jacket for a little while early. 43 in Scottsboro, 39 degrees in Decatur. It's 40 Athens, that is it, and 41 up in Meridianville. The wind's not as strong today. They will be out of the north and east, and it will warm us up a little bit today compared to yesterday. 68 yesterday at Huntsville International. Expect lower 70s today. Our ridge of high pressure is in a good spot to bring us more sunshine, and we have a string of nice weather in the forecast, and our temperatures heading on up each and every day. Here's our futurecast as we head through this afternoon. No problem at all. Tonight it'll be cool again. Expect 40s tomorrow morning, and then Thursday afternoon, a nice recovery as the winds shift around to the south. That'll get us into the mid to upper 70s. And even warmer on Thursday night into Friday. Temperatures not as cool overnight and a warmer afternoon. South winds, lower 80s on Friday. Don't expect any rainfall Friday or Saturday, but this, all the blue you see here, that indicates a greater chance of rain Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. Those 3 days we'll have our higher rainfall totals, upwards of an inch or so. And we'll see how that plays out, especially on Sunday with Panoply in downtown Huntsville. Right now, best days to get out there will be Friday and Saturday, but head out there Sunday, even though there could be a few showers around. So for today, 72 degrees. It'll be pleasant outside. This is still a little bit below our average for this time of year. 72 in the Shoals, 70 Fort Payne, 72 degrees up in Fayetteville, Winchester, low 70s. Temperatures tonight cool again. Lows will be in the 40s. Look at the recovery for tomorrow, mid to upper 70s in Athens, 77 Huntsville, and 76 down at Albertville. And let's go ahead and check your extended forecast. With temperatures over the next 7 days, it'll be warmer, but get ready for some of those showers Sunday through Tuesday.
All right, thank you, Ben. And it is time now for our first alert traffic report. This is a look at the 565 interchange, and you can see there are vehicles on the road, but things are moving really well, and that's kind of the story we're seeing across North Alabama this morning. Let's go ahead and take a look at our Waze app, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Just 2 reports to tell you about right now. We do have some congestion on Meridian Street North in Huntsville. Things are at a standstill there between Drake State Community College and Martin Luther King Jr. Elementary School. Another issue, this one in Decatur. We are seeing heavy traffic with the average speed down to 3 miles per hour on Moulton Street East in Decatur at the 6th Avenue Southeast intersection.
Well, deputies protecting Florida school shooter Nicholas Cruz had to pull him aside and surround him after members of a jury pool became potentially threatening. Judge in the case says a potential juror had to be removed by bailiffs after he began mouthing possible threats toward Cruz. Others also started acting threatening, so deputies moved in to protect Cruz. The entire 70-person panel was dismissed. Judge says they became belligerent in the hallway. Cruz facing a possible death sentence for murdering 17 at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida, 4 years ago. A popular tourist attraction and historic site in southeast Tennessee destroyed in a fire early yesterday morning. Polk County emergency officials said crews responded to the fire at the Ocoee Whitewater Center. The building has been considered, or is now considered, a total loss, and fire officials say the area will remain closed off. No injuries were reported. The cause of the fire, though, still unknown. The Tennessee Bureau of Investigation will be joining the trying to figure out what happened. The center, of course, was the site for the 1996 Olympic Games, the canoeing and kayak competition.
Actor Reese Witherspoon and Tennessee Titans running back Derrick Henry have joined the ownership group for the Major League Soccer's Nashville team ahead of Sunday's opening game in Gedos Park. Witherspoon grew up in the Nashville area, while Henry has been with the Titans since 2016. Witherspoon's husband, agent, and investor Jim Taub also joined the ownership group. The soccer team started play in 2020 at Nissan Stadium, which is home of the Titans. It played its first 8 league games on the road this season before it opens the new venue this weekend with a game against Philadelphia. The excitement is building for country music fans as they get ready to flood downtown Nashville for the return of the CMA Fest in June. The Country Music Association has released the lineup for the nighttime concerts at Ascend Amphitheater for the June 10th and 11th concerts. Chris Jansen will be the headliner for night 1, while Cole Swindell will headline night 2. Fans can purchase their tickets starting this Friday morning at 10 a.m. For more information on who else will be there, along with a link to tickets, you can find all of that on our website, WHNT.com. Just search CMA Fest.
New this half hour, a 22-year-old mystery finally solved. What the Baldwin County Sheriff's Office says they discovered in one man's death after all these years.
Twitter now has a new owner. What this means for the social media site moving forward and the hefty price tag that came with it.
And later this morning, how the first day of arguments in the case of the praying football coach went and what a favorable outcome for the coach could mean for the future of religious practices. It is 5:30 on Tuesday, April the 26th, and I'm Steve Johnson.
And I'm Kelly Smith. Thanks for joining us this morning. Now let's get a check of the forecast with meteorologist Ben Smith.
And a big improvement outside. The rain is slowly moving east, where we're not done with it yet. Now I'll show you where the rain is coming down. Not in Huntsville into the weekend, but more rain chances. I'll have that coming up.
All right, Ben, April is Autism Acceptance Month, a time to celebrate and promote inclusivity for those with autism spectrum disorder.
This morning, we want to tell you about one group working to do just that. News 19's Lauren Layton is in the studio this morning to tell us about Tourism Alabama.
Well, Tourism Alabama started during the pandemic as a way to marry two groups: hotels who were seeing a dip in patrons and neurodiverse families who may experience difficulty traveling to busy spots in the first place. I speak with one mother whose family stayed at the DoubleTree in the Rocket City as a program participant. Hear about her experience.
All right, Lauren, a mystery more than 20 years old finally solved. For 22 years, a man whose body was found floating in Florida's Styx River has only been known as Seminole Doe. Baldwin County Sheriff's Office in Alabama confirms the man's name is Daniel Munoz Jr. He drowned in March of 2000. Authorities say he was only wearing black jeans and had more than half a dozen tattoos. The Sheriff's Office reopened the cold case in 2019 and released pictures of those tattoos. Munoz's stepdaughter recognized one of them and called investigators. That eventually led to a DNA sample. Captain Clint Cadenhead was there when crews pulled Munoz's body from the Styx River back in 2000. He says he never gave up trying to find out who the man was. Now he says with a positive ID, this cold case is closed. As state offices were closed Monday in observance of Confederate Memorial Day, some across the state say the holiday should be eliminated. While some support the holiday to recognize those who fought for the Confederacy, others say it has no place as a state holiday in Alabama. The last legislative session, a bill to eliminate the holiday in exchange for making Election Day a holiday failed. The political director for Alabama Democrats, Dexter Strong, says Confederate Memorial Day honors those who committed treason and fought to uphold slavery.
We live in the United States of America. The Confederacy is dead, hopefully forever. We need to do what's possible to ensure that we honor people who promote democracy and equality, not people who fought to create systems of white supremacy and slavery in perpetuity.
And Alabama, one of just 3 states that observe the state holiday, the other 2, South Carolina and Mississippi. University of Alabama has established a scholarship in honor of one of the state's widely read sports columnists. The university announced Monday that friends and family of the late Cecil Hurt have established a memorial fund in his honor called the Cecil Hurt Endowed Support Fund for Excellence in Sports Media. Hurt worked at the Tuscaloosa News from 1982 until his death last November. He won many awards for his coverage of Crimson Tide athletics. According to the university, the funds will prioritize support for students and initiatives related to the sports media field. We do have a link for those interested in donating to the scholarship at our website, WHNT.com. The Lincoln County Sheriff's Office says it identified new persons of interest in the disappearance and murder of a man in 2015. Jason Gene Turner, last seen on November 27th of that year. The Sheriff's Office says nearly 5 years later, skeletal remains were found in Van Buren County, Tennessee. University of North Texas Center for Human Identification later positively identified the remains as Jason Gene Turner. Officials are evaluating additional evidence as well as persons of interest identified by law enforcement. The Sheriff's Office says it will continue to investigate Turner's disappearance and murder. Marcus Spanavello has entered a not guilty plea for charges filed against him in the case of the death, of Cassie Carley. She disappeared March 27th in Pensacola, initiating a multi-state search that ended when her body was found in a shallow grave in Alabama. Spanavello was the last known person to see her alive. He is charged with 1 count of tampering with evidence and 1 count of false information to law enforcement officers during the investigation and obstructing justice. Spanavello refused to give a DNA swab. He was booked into the Santa Rosa County Jail in Florida.
A teacher from Sarasota County, Florida, was forced to remove a rainbow coexist flag from his classroom. Jeremy Baldwin says he has made it a priority to make students feel safe and welcome in his classroom. After 4 years of displaying the flag in his classroom, school leaders told him the flag must be removed due to its political nature. Baldwin pointed out that to the districts, the decision to remove the flag came after Governor Ron DeSantis signed the Don't Say Gay bill into law. Baldwin says students at the high school have expressed frustration and confusion over the district's policy.
Vincent Gillespie, the son of a renowned post-war American artist Gregory Gillespie, waged a legal battle to gain control of hundreds of paintings by his dad in recent years.
But these days, he's engaging in a different battle. Prosecutors say that Gillespie joined rioters on January 6, 2021, as they insurrected the U.S. Capitol. Investigators say Gillespie was identified by a half-dozen sources from images taken that day and was among the mob trying to force its way through a tunnel at the lower west terrace of the Capitol.
Officials say Gillespie participated in a violent struggle against law enforcement, trying to prevent rioters from entering the building as a joint session of Congress is engaged in certifying electoral college votes. Gillespie continued to make specious claims about the 2020 election being stolen from Donald Trump. His next court appearance is scheduled for April 29th in Washington.
A New York judge has found former President Donald Trump in contempt of court for failing to adequately respond to a subpoena issued by the state's attorney general as part of the investigation into his business dealings. The judge ordered Trump to pay a fine of $10,000 per day. New York Attorney General Letitia James asked the court to hold Trump in contempt after he missed a March 31st court-imposed deadline to turn over documents. Trump spokespeople did not immediately respond to a request for comment. Tesla and SpaceX CEO Elon Musk is adding Twitter to his corporate portfolio. On Monday, the world's richest man acquired the social media company in a deal worth $44 billion. Musk says he wants to turn the platform into a bastion of free speech, a principle he described as the bedrock of a functioning society. Twitter executives initially resisted Musk's efforts to buy the company, but after less than 2 weeks of negotiations, its board unanimously voted to accept his offer at a little over $54 a share. Musk has indicated his intent to privatize Twitter, a move that would subject it to less regulatory oversight. He has also promised to improve the service by getting rid of spam accounts and adding features like an edit button.
First all-private astronaut crew to fly on the International Space Station, or to be there, has completed its mission. The SpaceX Dragon Endeavour capsule splashed down in the Atlantic near Jacksonville, Florida, just after 1 yesterday afternoon. Picture-perfect landing followed 17 days in space, 240 orbits around Earth, and 6.3 million miles. The four-man team blasted off from Kennedy Space Center April 8th for what was supposed to be an 8-day mission, but bad weather extended the trip to 17 days. It's the first time a completely private crew was flown to the ISS. COVID hospitalizations have dropped in recent months, but that could be changing, and there are several supplements on the market to help smokers quit the habit. There may be a new method that is more successful. Your top health stories are coming up.
And rainfall exiting the Tennessee Valley. I think you'll like the extended forecast. Warmer temperatures, but rain could be coming back this weekend. I'll let you know about that coming up.